how many of you know somebody who's died of the flu? None. Probably not many, especially in the age of modern medicine. This doesn't hold true for indigenous people who still live traditional lifestyles through almost amongst the dwindling numbers of indigenous populations around the globe. The Yanomami Tribe is one such group. Situated on a protected territory at the border of Venezuela and Brazil, these indigenous people live in an independent familia communities and practice a very traditional and primitive way of life. This is a topic I find quite fascinating and one I have researched multiple times for various classes, namely for anthropology. In my speech, I will touch on the lifestyle, the religious beliefs, and the threats facing the Yanomami people. As one of the few remaining indigenous tribes, I think it is especially important to document these people's way of life to protect their rights as indigenous people. One of the ways to do this is through observation of their customs and their day-to-day life. Living on familia communal villages and partaking in a hunter-gathering lifestyle, the various Yanomami tribes exist independently from neighboring tribes and reserve the right to wage war or live peacefully as their individual communities see fit. The Yanomami people believe in equality amongst all people, regardless of sex. Males and females share the same physical space, with no areas of limits to either gender, and the children are raised with the emphasis based on generosity, bravery, and willpower, regardless of the child's gender. Though docile in nature, the Yanomami do set their shamans apart and see them as revered members of the society. They are spiritual leaders of their communities and have the ability to communicate with spirits, who they believe reside in all living things. The shamans are responsible for controlling the spirits, whom they communicate with via the use of natural hallucinogens found in their environment. Additionally, they believe the cosmos is made up of 4 parallel planes. The upper layer, which is mostly empty, the second layer, which is the sky and it's inhabited by the dead, the third layer, which is here on earth, and the fourth layer, which is the underworld and inhabited by the spirits who wish harm to humans and who cause illness. Due to their primitive lifestyle, these illnesses can be quite detrimental to their population. Amongst the ways of which modern society has completely impacted the Yanomami, disease transference is one of the most detrimental. In an article on Survival International org titled The Yanomami, it is stated that in the 1980s a gold rush was in the area. Miners were responsible for the genocide of over 20% of the Yanomami population in just over 7 years. This was due in part to exposure to illness that they had no immunity against. For these people, exposure to something as simple as a flu or measles, which Americans were vaccinated against from a young age, can mean death. Unfortunately, this is an issue that persists to this day for these indigenous tribes. The outbreak of COVID-19 in recent years began just another illness to add to their threats. Deforestation, disease, and the insertion of illegal activities are just a few ways that globalization has impacted the Yanomami. Owing to the mineral-rich nature of the mountains surrounding the reserve, miners have been illegally entering the area for decades. bringing with them death and destruction. Situated between Venezuela and Brazil, this population of indigenous people is part of the dwindling global group of individuals who maintain their traditional ways of life. Thank you.